swan. Here we go. Okay, so here we were. I just finished saw, and you're transitioning me. You told me to lie down. Yeah.
From the saw exercise, bring the legs together, soften the knees, and roll down onto your mat. Shift onto your stomach, extending the legs to the width of the mat to align the body. Then, bring the legs back to hip width apart, placing a hand over the other with the forehead resting on top. Okay, starting position. Lie face down with elbows bent and hands stacked under the forehead. Keep the pelvis and spine in a neutral position. Legs remaining parallel and hip width apart with ankles plantar flexed and toes pointed. What is that? Okay. Engage the shoulder blades and keep the upper body stabilized. For the movement, engage the core, anchoring the hips and legs into the mat. Inhale, extend through the spine, lifting the upper body for 3 counts. 1, 2, 3, is that your Exhale, slowly lower back down with control.
That's swan prep. How easy is that? It's too easy, right? And that's why, and this is like, you have to have it as it's written. This is what I like to see for swan. You tell them to place their hands down, forehead on the mat. I like them to zip the legs together because I believe in a straight center line for swimming. They can be hip width apart. Good. I don't need their feet flexed. It's fine to push your toes into the ground. Inhale. As you exhale, pretend there's a marble underneath your nose and you're pushing the marble away. As the marble rolls away from you, follow it up the wall. As you follow it up the wall to the high 45, lift your hands, hover and hold. And come back down for 3, 2, 1. Catch the marble. Inhale. All the way up. 3. Follow the marble. 2. Oh, it went on the ceiling now. That to me is a more integrated swan prep. Now, most people's backs are tight, so there's nothing wrong with doing this. There's nothing wrong with saying hover the hands, lift the upper body, look forward. There's so many beautiful variations of swan prep. My contemplation is this. Having swan prep as a piece of real repertoire and fundamental mat is necessary even though she's mildly boring. That had zero razzle dazzle. Think about the flow you guys did with me this morning or this afternoon when we first met. But we've got to get them longer in the back so we can start to bring that energy backwards as well, right? Because swan's a beautiful piece of repertoire. But they probably need to do that swan prep for a while. It also prepares them for swimming, which gets layered in, right? So those are your triplets. How easy are those? Right? You could probably teach them tomorrow, no problem, because you will, right? Oh, pardon me, your prones. We went triplets to prones. You have 2 prones, swan and then single leg kick, right? Bump up, right? Double leg kick.
But that's not in here.
Because you know where double leg kick comes is intermediate.
Okay.
So let's review single leg kick. Palm over palm, forehead down, take the right toe, kick, kick, lift, lengthen, kick, kick, lift, lengthen, or kick, kick, point, or a variation of both. What you have to remember though, it is twice, not 3 times. We do the 3 in intermediate. 1, 2, 3. Also, what I like to do when it's a very capable class, I'll say palm over palm, forehead down. Kick the knee, kick the heel, the right heel to the bum twice. Kick, kick. Hey, did your heels touch your bum? Cheat today, grab your heel and put it on your bum. You see how far away you were? That's what we work up to. I bet you in 5 weeks you'll be able to do it. Guess what? It's not from flexibility of the hamstring. It's not from the back of the leg at all. Their ability is coming from the front of the leg. Isn't that cool? So that's why we have to do it in sequence. All right, so those are the warm-up, the ab series, the triplets, the prones.
I have a question about single leg, double leg.
Yeah.
Would you say that, like even swan and everything, that fundamental beginner is like head to the mat, and as you advance,
Yes.
you're like up more.
That's right.
And is that also just for back?
It's all lower back.
Okay.
And it's palm over palm. We don't ever interlace the fingers, anything in classical. Palm over palm, forehead down.
Yeah, okay.
You know? You can even cue a lot of women because they wear makeup on the regular. A lot of women will put towels down, but you can even cue it for the men because it's nicer
Yeah.
to put your head onto a towel, right? Then your palms and knuckles are,
Yeah.
right? So that takes us into our finale 5. We're not heading there today because I want everyone here,
Yeah.
right? So then look you've got your warm-up, ab, triplet prone, warm-up, ab, triplet prone. You've taught all of them except the last chunk, but how hard would it be now that you're in that teacher modality? You're in the groove, right? So let's go to anatomy. Introduction to anatomy for Pilates, Matt. Understanding anatomy is essential for practicing and teaching Pilates effectively. Whether working on the mat or the reformer, a strong foundation in anatomical principles allows for precise movement, injury prevention, and optimal performance. This module will introduce anatomical position of the body, a key reference point in understanding movement, alignment, and biomechanics in Pilates. Emil, yesterday we did the stomp test. So I want us to pause here for a second. I want to show you the stomp test. So what they did, I don't know what this is in frame, but Austin was here. You get people in a private or in a rehab setting. It's so fun. They love it because they think you're magical. They're like, what are you doing? Why are you doing it? They feel mildly uncomfortable at first, but then you just be a safe space for them. You get them to stand with their feet hip distance apart, palms facing forward. They shut their eyes and they stomp on the spot, right? And people will do all sorts of funky things, and you let them. And then you say, don't think about it, but when I ask you to land in stillness, land. And then they land. And you'll see their body will sway a certain way. And they'll pull up a certain way. Or they'll tilt their head a certain way. And right now, at the beginning level of your teaching abilities, you're looking for which way they pull. So when someone stomps and they go, I just pulled right, I'm doing it on purpose, right? And you're like, okay, they pulled right, which means probably there's a discrepancy on the left. Your body works in diagonal lines from the joints. So if they have an issue with their right hip, my first thought is left ankle, to be honest. I go further down because I want to build up. Same with shoulders, right? It does a crisscross lattice all the way down. So now let's watch. I'm going to do it. You tell me which way I'm pulling today. I'm going to stomp, 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 stomp. It was mild today. I'm in pretty good alignment, but I did pull which way.
I feel like you went to your right.
I went to my right. Just mildly though. Just
The tiniest bit.
It's funny, I'm in better alignment today than yesterday. Thank goodness. Yesterday I really pulled right. And what we discussed yesterday in Neil is I pull right because I had so many babies, so I was constantly bouncing babies on my hips. Think about that. 6 children. So I will pull right because I've overdone this for a decade plus. Some people pull left because when they sleep in bed, they don't want to be near their snoring partner. So they're turning away, right? We don't know. There's lots of reasons. But then it's not just about the stomp test for how they pull. We start to see their back. We go from which way they pull to their anatomical position of their back body. Megan Justine is a great one. I'll give no spoilers. She's a great one to look at her back. Great as in, you can't miss what her problem is. Bless her heart. She doesn't care. She's like, I know. But you don't have to be magically eyed to see it. It's very evident, right? So, anatomical position. The anatomical position is the starting point for describing the human body. It provides a universal reference to ensure clear communication when discussing movement and alignment in this position. So this is the position. The body stands upright. So they're not lying. They're not supine. Feet are hip width apart, facing forward. Arms rest at the sides of the body. Palms face forward with thumbs pointing outward. Head is in a neutral with eyes looking straight ahead. Cassandra, can you continue reading for me, darling?
This position is fundamental because it establishes a baseline for movement in Pilates. Every flexion, extension, rotation, and lateral movement is described in relation to this position.
Why it matters. Go ahead.
Pilates focuses on controlled, intentional movements that stem from a balanced and aligned body. When practicing on the mat with a reformer, understanding the anatomical position helps.
So number one, improve postural awareness. Pilates encourages spinal alignment and core activation. Knowing the anatomical position helps clients recognize and correct postural imbalances. When do you think your clients will actually recognize their own imbalances? Let's talk about it. Are most people having a strong mind-body connection?
No.
They don't know, and also they don't really want to know because it makes them feel bad.
Yeah.
However, if you're an adequate teacher, after about 40 hours, they'll start to understand their posture better. You wouldn't believe how many clients that I've had through Reformer and Matt, after like 10 to 20 to 30 classes, are like, "Shoot, what? I was standing in line at Starbucks and I actually thought about pulling my abs into my spine. I just stood up better while I was waiting for my latte." That's what we're going for. Those are the crying moments. Those are like, oh. Because when I'm at the airport or I'm queued up in a line, I'm a bit of a posture police. If they only knew, if they keep doing this, by the time they're 62, they might need a hip replacement if they're female.
Yeah, my osteopath told me to not do that either. She's like, "You cock your hip to the right." And I was like, "Oh, okay." You
Right?
know everything.
Right?
Everything about me.
Everything.
She's like, "Do you stand like this?" And I was like,
I do. So do you have a camera in my bedroom or something?
Yeah, I was like, that was a hate crime.
Right? But this is the thing. And when people start to stand up better and feel longer in their spine, abs activate.
Mm-hmm.
Really, our abs should be supporting us all day long. They really should. So why it matters, improving postural awareness. It enhances movement precision. Movements in Pilates involve multiple planes of motion. Understanding the body's positioning allows for accurate execution of exercises. Let's just take, for example, side kick series. We did it today. We did it with ring. Without ring, it looks like this. Jackknife the feet to a 45. Put your top foot in flexion. Lengthen at hip height. Kick forward, point, back. See? I'm not allowed to move my upper body, but see how far I kicked forward? I can come a long way this way, because usually I'm not tight here. Usually I'm pretty good. So look how far. Can I sincerely get my... Nope, not unless I'm compensating. So you have to keep them in control. Only kick as far forward as you feel you can point as far back. Where do you learn that first? Which one in your ab series?
Scissors. I was doing scissors wrong for forever until you
Corrected you?
corrected that. And then it made sense to me, like, okay, yeah, a pair of scissors, it doesn't, one of the things doesn't move down here.
Well, because this is people in scissors because they like the feel of it.
Yes.
Instead of keeping them in equal ratio, they drop.
Well, it's easier.
It's so easy.
Yeah.
But you're only allowed to drop if this leg can drop
Yeah.
backwards. I see it in Reformer all the time. I'm like, if you drop that leg, we're going to push the other one right over your face. And then people are like, ooh.
I used
Right,
to love
sis.
scissors until you taught it that way, and I don't love scissors anymore.
I'm like,
It's harder
you
now.
took away my bubby. You took away my toy. Right? Now let's look. It reduces risk of injury. We always want people to be moving, activated, and no one to get hurt. Right? It increases mind-body connection. Pilates emphasizes awareness of movement patterns, knowing anatomical landmarks, and helps refine control and technique. Throughout this module, we will explore how different planes of movement, muscle activation, and joint mechanics apply to both mat. I probably said in reformer in yours too. I should have taken out the reformer part. By starting with anatomical position as our reference, we can build a deeper understanding of how the body moves and functions. I want you to write down on your page natural movement patterns. First of all, how do we start our day?
Wake up.
Where are you when you wake up?
In your bed.
So what position are you naturally in? Some people are in a side fetal. What other positions are we in bed?
I'm in full lizard on my stomach.
Full lizard. I love it.
On your stomach.
On
Yeah.
your back.
On your back.
Good, so write it down. Natural movement patterns, lying in bed. What happens when you wake up? Well, unfortunately me, I rolled to the side and I reached for my phone because I'm curious to see if my special friend has texted me,
Oh.
right? I got a Magnus Sweden, but I got a special friend. I'm like, oh, my special friend, right? Because I'm a girl, right? So I'm reaching like this, right? But listen, what happens? We eventually sit up and we get ourselves out of bed. What happens after that? So you can write seated or sitting. This is why Liv needs to be here. She would edit that out. I would post it. And then my special friend would be like, oh, she likes me.
And you never want them to know that.
I'm like, I like you enough. Can we be girls for a second and friends for a second and all the things? He goes to me the other day, he's like, what percentage is there that you're going to fall in love with me? And I burst out laughing. I'm like, pardon? You're a special friend. I have a Magnus in Sweden. We're fine here. Calm down. Calm down.
Very confident.
I was like, wow. It was very charming the way he said it. I was like, okay, that's cute. All right, so we sit up. What happens after we sit up? What are we doing?
Walk.
We're walking to the bathroom, brush our teeth, make breakfast. Now let's talk about natural movement patterns in the day. What's a natural movement pattern of you during your day? Well, I know me. I'm on my phone, I'm on my computer, I'm calling, I'm sitting at my desk, I'm driving my car.
Yeah. Me right now, I'm rocking the baby.
Rocking a baby. So write down some of your natural positions: cooking, sitting, computerizing, walking, going to the bathroom. Now, none of us walk enough because we all have cars, right? But walking is one of our natural movement patterns. So both of you are reformer students. When you are on reformer, what do we always warm up with? Footwork, because it is supposed to mimic heel toe. It is supposed, we don't start with heels, but it's supposed to warm up the foot, because guess what? We walk wrong. Right? So footwork is supposed to mimic the natural pattern of walking, because we don't walk enough and we need that fascia stretched and opened. What's another typical natural movement pattern? I exercise, probably not enough, but like I'll go to the gym. So I wrote down workouts, exercise, run, weights. We eat dinner, we sit at a dinner table. We watch TV, we sit on a couch, and then we go to bed. It's kind of our day. All right, so now that we're super smart Pilates teachers, the first one, lying down in bed. What piece of repertoire is that?
100.
When I come out of bed, what does that look like?
Rocking.
Rolling like a ball. All right? Beside 2 or 3 of what you chose, I want you to pick a repertoire that would actually help it, mimic it, or emulate it. Mm-hmm. Help it, replicate it, or emulate it.
I need to look at that.
Look at the list. You got a manual. It's your manual. I'm going to pause it there. I'm going to use the bathroom, but I want you to write it down and then we'll continue. All right. Thanks for doing that.